Welcome to the Uncensored Self Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gillen, and this is a space where women who value achievement, success, accomplishment, and wealth, but also crave happiness, love, joy, and deep fulfillment come to remember that we get to have both. Not by doing more, but by being more of who we truly are. In this show, we explore identity, energy, alignment, and embodiment because you didn't come here to follow someone else's rules. You came to right your own. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to session 3 of the mid-year comeback series here on the Uncensored Self Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gillen, and today we are going to talk about reclaiming your power. But first, I want to spend a couple minutes just celebrating the heck out of you. You are doing amazing. The DMs that I have been getting, the conversations that I have been having have just been so magical and so fun and so exciting. And I love how pumped you all are about the series and how much this is resonating with you. So I just want to thank you for being here, and also just start with a little bit of a recap. So if you're just hopping in right here, I'm glad that you're here. Sessions 1 and 2 are really powerful. I do recommend listening to this in order. So if you're like, I'm diving in on session 3, I want you to push pause. I want you to go back to session 1 because they kind of all build on one another, and the reflections and the questions are all really powerful when you add them up together. So I am going to ask you to go back from the beginning and watch this entire thing and really take a deep dive into the work. But I want to talk about today, which is reclaiming our power, right? So we started in episode 1, right? Really being honest with ourselves about where we are, what we're achieving, what we're doing, like really taking a deep dive in an audit and spending some time there. And then session 2 was really about reclaiming our vision, getting clear on what we want, what's ours, what's not. Are we really off track? Why are we off track? And really taking a deep dive into that. But today, what we're going to do is really realign with our personal power. And I want to start with kind of a definition of personal power. When I talk about personal power, I mean we have our own personal power to create, right? Our thoughts, words, and actions are literally how we are creating our reality. And what most of us have done is we have given all of our power away to the outside circumstances, right? To the fact that we are off track, to the fact that our results aren't the way they want to be, to the fact that we're not moving as quickly as we want to the fact that this isn't right and that isn't right and this isn't working out and something must be wrong with me. And we've given our personal power away to the external circumstances. And so what that means is that we make our external circumstances mean something and give it a lot of power to make us feel a certain way. That's what I mean when I say we've given away our personal power, is we've let our bank account balance make us feel like we're good enough or we're not, like we're safe or we're unsafe, like we're valuable or we're not valuable. That's what I mean about personal power, because personal power is I am worthy and valuable regardless of what my bank account says, which is what is true, right? Like truth is that you are whole and worthy and complete right now simply because God sourced the universe, made you, and you live and breathe and exist. You can literally do nothing and still be worthy of all the things that you want. But we have our worthiness in our bank account balance and the number of clients that we have and our job titles and all of these different things. So when I talk about reclaiming our personal power and using it, it's taking it back from the things that we currently are giving a whole lot of power and a whole lot of attention and bringing it back to ourselves. So that's what this episode and this lesson is really about, is realigning that personal power. So what most of us do in a mid-year reset or any kind of reset is we go looking for external things, right? The cultural default is that we try to fix everything outside of us, right? The circumstances, the plans, the people, the market, right? But what actually needs to shift for you to really reclaim your power and have a really amazing remainder of 2025 is the story, right? You are not stuck because of your circumstances. You are stuck because of your story. And the reason how we know that this is true is because there are other people dealing with the same or similar circumstances and not telling the same story, right? One person might say that I only signed 3 new clients this month. I suck. And somebody else might say, oh my God, I signed 3 new clients this month. This is amazing. That's how we know the power is not in the circumstances. The power is in the story. Because one person thinks 3 new clients is amazing and the other person thinks 3 new clients is not enough. And what you're instantly thinking is, well, Ryan, that person's, financial commitments might be different than mine. It doesn't really matter. It's the circumstance. The circumstance is the same. And that's how we know that it is the story about the circumstance that is where all of the power is. And you have given your power to the story. You have given your power to, here's why it's not going the way I want it to. Let me explain you what happened and why I'm off track and this thing happened. And I'm guilty of this too. There is zero judgment in this, but you need to realize that your power is in the story that you tell yourself. When you tell yourself that 2025 is going fucking amazing and look at all the things that I have accomplished and look at what I've learned and look at the clarity I've got in my vision and look at the direction that I'm going. When you tell that story, it really doesn't matter what your results are because that story has such amazing power in it. That story has such amazing energy in it. It's all in the story that we choose to tell ourselves. And this is the hardest part of this work, is because that is so fucking simple, but not easy, right? Or is it the other way around? Easy but not simple, simple but not easy. It's extremely simple. But our brain has so much noise and so much chatter in it that we have a hard time believing in that simplicity. We have a hard time believing that it is not the market that is causing this, that it is not the economy that is causing this. It's not the political climate that's not causing it. No, it's the power you're giving to the economy. It's the power you're giving to interest rates. It's the power you're giving to the political climate. It's the power you're giving to the algorithm. Because there are people out there that never fucking think about those things, and they're winning. Right. I just saw a post the other day where somebody was talking about what was going on in the market. And I just will sometimes read the comments. And this person, everybody was like, oh God, the market's so slow. The market's so slow. The market's so slow. This person was in mortgage in particular. And I'm like, that's wild, because I have clients having record years or record months in real estate and mortgage right now. So you, again, can't tell me that it's and then one of you is like, it's the market, blah, blah, blah. Some of these people are in the same market, right? I have a friend who is a loan officer who celebrated a record May. Right. And there's other people that are like, I can't find a deal to save my life. Is it the circumstances, or is it the story? Is it who you think yourself to be? Is it the identity? It is in the story. We have to take back the story. We have to take back the story we're telling ourselves about why we do or don't have what we want. So what we tend to do is not give any credit to the story or the circumstance. And we're like, I just need something outside of me to change. So I'm going to change my circumstance. I'm going to change my market. I'm going to change my niche. I'm going to change my offers. I'm going to create something new. And we just think if we move enough things around outside of the board, right, then we'll get what we want. No, we need to change the story we're telling ourselves. We need to tell ourselves we're on track. We need to tell ourselves we're on our way, right? We need to tell ourselves that everything is working out for us. We need to tell ourselves that we're fucking amazing. And of course, we're going to hit our goals. That's just not the story that we tell ourselves. We have our power in the circumstances instead of in the story. Give the power back to you. Give the power to the story and tell the story in the way that you want it to go. And I promise you that your life will change. When you start telling yourself a different story about your circumstances, about what you're going, where you're going, about your desires, about what you're working on, when you start to tell a different story, you will see different results. That is personal power. Personal power is realizing that the power is actually in my story, in the conversation happening in my head. And when you start to realize that this is literal, this is true, that every single thought you think is creating, and that if you just thought different thoughts, which is essentially just telling yourself a different story, that you will get a different result. So we have to bring all of that, right? All of that. And this is really, guys, this is universal law, right? Law of vibration and law of attraction. So the story of I'm overwhelmed, I'm behind, there's never enough time, are quite literally what you were living, because that is the story you were telling. Look around. How often do you tell yourself there's not enough hours in the day? How many times do you tell yourself that you're never going to get all of it done? How many times do you tell yourself that you're so stressed out and frustrated and overworked? How many times do you tell yourself that story? However many times you tell yourself that story is how big that story is going to be. You think you're just describing reality, but you're creating it, and then reacting to it, and creating it, and then reacting to it. That is the chaos loop, that putting out the fires. Why do I constantly feel like I'm putting out fires? Because all you think about is fire. All you think about are problems. All you think about are the things that aren't going well. All the things you think about. You have to tell a different story. You have to say it differently. So your need to keep solving problems, the fact that you find so much value in being a problem solver, is actually what's keeping the problems alive, because you need the problems to solve. Who am I without the problems to solve, right? You get a dopamine hit from being the fixer. You get a dopamine hit for figuring it out. You get a dopamine hit for barely, sliding in, right under the radar by making payroll, or the dopamine hit of like, I moved all the things around and found a way to finally book that vacation, but I had to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. But you get the dopamine hit, but we're going on the vacation. We figured it out, right? You're getting the dopamine hit from the external circumstances instead of providing yourself a story that gives you whatever it is you're looking for. So we have to be so serious about this. We have to be so serious about the thoughts that we think. Like, if I could just help you see that it is that extremely simple thing, if we just start telling ourselves a different story, we will start to yield very, very different results, right? And what's wild about this, guys, is that the story isn't even fully yours. It's opinion, it's judgment, it's programming, right? Your brain is running other people's thoughts and fears on autopilot, because you're going onto social media and you're seeing what people are talking about, and you're seeing what they're experiencing, or you're going to, I mentioned this in the previous podcast, right? You go to masterminds, or you sit in sales meetings, or you sit on coaching calls, and the sky is falling everywhere, and you're just observing people. So you're like, oh, the sky is falling, but the sky isn't actually falling. That is just their experience, right? Do you want to create from your own consciousness, or do you want to create based on other people's experience? You get to choose by what you give your attention to. Your personal power is your attention, right? There's two things. I have two different mentors. Abraham is one of my favorites, right? Who basically says what you focus on expands, right? Your focus is what creates. Most of us are focused on what isn't going well, the problems that we have to solve, the people who are assholes, the things that aren't going right, the things that aren't getting done, the things that we don't like in our life, the conversations that we have are all about those things. And we're like, I don't understand why nothing is changing, but all we do is give our focus to this thing, right? I had another mentor. He said, you are where your attention is. If your attention is in chaos, which for most of my clients it is, that is why you are in a continued loop of chaos. It is your focus. And if you could just, again, this is the reclaiming of your power, and put your focus on something that feels good, something you like, what it is you want to create, what the results are you're going after, the opportunities that you want, the clients that you love, the things in your life are going well. If you just gave those things as much focus and as much attention as you give the drama, you would reclaim that power and you would reallocate that in a really meaningful way. But the thing is that we have calibrated ourselves to the outside world, to the results that our senses can touch and feel and taste and see, right? And then you leak energy and you give away power that you didn't even realize that you were holding, because to you, it literally feels like you're just fucking reporting the weather. I only have X clients. You're like, Ryan, that's fact. I have 3 clients. That's fact. Okay. But do you make 3 clients mean that it's not enough or enough? Do you make 3 clients mean that it's fucking amazing that 3 people chose me? Or do you make 3 clients mean like I only have 3 clients, I'm such a fucking loser? You get to choose the meaning that you give any single thing. So if the circumstance is 3 clients, you can say, I have 3 clients and there's more coming. Or I only have 3 clients and I have no idea where my next client is coming from. Which one of those is giving out a more positive energy? Which one of those feels better in your body? Which one of those feels better to say? That is literally what is happening here. You're calibrating to that result and you're giving it all of your power. And one of the things that I think frustrates you guys so much, because you're like, but Ryan, I'm working my ass off over here. Like, you don't understand. There is no way for me to do more. I don't want you to do more. I want you to do less, right? Reclaiming your personal power is realizing that your power isn't coming from the doing anyway. The power is coming from your energy. One of my favorite stories, Abraham tells a story all the time about vacuuming, right? It's like, if you have people coming over to your house, you clean your house and you vacuum the floors, right? You do a really good job. Like, you pull out the attachments and you get all the dog hair off the couch and you do all the things, but because you want people to think that the house looks pretty, that the house looks clean. You want it to look good for other people, but you forgot to plug your vacuum in. So you did all of the effort of cleaning up the house for the guests because you wanted the guests to feel a certain way, but you forgot to plug into your own personal power, because your personal power is in the guests. I want the guests to like me. I want my house to look good. I want them to think whatever you want people to think about you when you want your house to look a certain way. And there's no judgment. I am the type of person, I mean, I feel the same way, but the truth of the matter is most of us have all of our power in the fact, well, I vacuumed but the vacuum wasn't plugged in. So it doesn't matter how much time and energy you spent vacuuming if the vacuum wasn't plugged in. That's what personal power is. You guys are out here fucking, deep cleaning your entire houses without being plugged into your power, and you don't understand why you're so exhausted, because you're out here doing all this work and you're overly relying on effort instead of realizing that your power is in your energy, it's in your story, it's in what you put out. So when you are in this place where all the action and all the effort isn't working, it's because you're not connected to your true power source, which is God source, the universe, right? You're doing something because you think you're supposed to, or because you think somebody else will notice. That's not personal power. That's externally validated power. I'm doing something because somebody said that I should. I'm doing something because I want somebody to like me. That's not personal power. That's circumstantial power. If you like me, I feel good. If you don't, I don't, right? That's not personal power. Personal power is I like me. And I hope that you like me too. But if you don't, I'll still be okay. That's personal power. You have the power, and I'm only good enough if they like me. I only did a good job if I get the validation that I'm looking for. If somebody outside of me tells it it's enough, if somebody likes my house and the way that it looks, then I'm validated. But if they don't, then there's something wrong with me, right? That's not personal power. That's circumstantial power. Your power is in the things outside of you, which is why so many of us get off track in our goals, right? So what we want to do here is focus on what is actually creating, right? There are 3 things, and 3 things only, that are creating your reality: your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. That is it. But what we do is we give energy to everything outside of that. Instagram threads, other people's opinions, external drama, the number in our bank account, that other person over there is doing more than me, less than me, something different than me, right? But when you start to choose your thoughts and feelings intentionally, you start to realize that you have the power to do that. That's how you take back the power of your results. That's how you take back your power, is you say, I'm no longer willing to give my power away to things outside of me. My power is self-sourced, right? My mentor has called it being self-sourced. You are your own source of safety. You are your own source of abundance. You are your own source of freedom. How? Through your thoughts, words, and actions, right? When I think that, of course, I'm going to fucking hit my goal and I feel confident about my goal, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do the things necessary to hit my goal, right? If I think there's no way in hell I'm going to feel this and I'm going to do this, and then I feel like shit and I feel pessimistic and I feel scared and I feel afraid and I feel like nothing is ever going to work out for me, what action, what energy am I going to show up when I do take action? This is what happens is we just focus on the action and we don't focus on the thoughts and the feelings. When the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions are aligned, that's the magic, right? We've got our thoughts in, I'm never going to hit this, and our feelings in, I suck and I'm not good enough and they're not going to like me and oh my gosh, I'm never going to get there and all of that. And then we go and take action from that energy and then the action doesn't work. That's what we mean by vacuuming the floor without plugging it in, because our thoughts and our feelings aren't aligned. Our story isn't aligned. We're just taking the action part and we're wanting the action to do all of the creating when the action is actually the last step of the process. Your power is in the thoughts and the feelings. Your thoughts create your feelings. If I think, of course I'm going to fucking hit this goal because I'm amazing at what I do, I feel good. When I think there's no way in hell I'm going to hit this goal in 2025 because I'm so fucking far off track and I'm a fucking loser and I never hit my goals and what is wrong with me, then it doesn't matter how much action I take. You might as well stay home. Take the nap. I'm serious. The action isn't doing you any good. But that's the problem, is we have shitty thoughts and we don't feel very good and we take action anyway. That's where burnout comes from. That's where frustration comes from. That's what being off track is. So we want to reclaim our thoughts and we want to reclaim our feelings so that when we take action, we actually get a result that we want. We actually get the result that we want, that we desire. That's the magic of intentional reality creation, right? You don't need to react. You can choose curiosity over judgment, presence over panic. You get to choose how you feel. Right? But if you are constantly focused on what is not working and what is not here and what is not going well, you're merely feeding it, right? You're merely feeding it and you don't even see what is working because your chaos has so much momentum. So when you stop focusing on what is broken and you instead start focusing on what is going well, which is why session one of this was, we need to take an evaluation of where we're at because most of us are way farther along or there's way more good than we even think about. But if we spent more time thinking about the good and we spent more time thinking about the things that were going well, we would be creating a dramatically different result. So I know women who can have 8 goals on their to-do list and be on track for 6 of them and be off track for only 2 of them and spend all of their time and energy thinking about how am I going to close the gap on these 2 goals. And then all of a sudden the other shit starts to fall away too. It's because what you focus on expands. And when you focus on I'm not good enough and it's not going to happen and it's never going to come to fruition and I'm never going to figure this thing out and I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. That's what you are creating. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Right? This is the work, you guys. This is the work. This is intentional reality creation. This is manifestation at its finest. We all want to manifest money and we all want to manifest clients and we all want it to come in with ease and flow, but we are running around all day long telling ourselves a story about how we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, and it's never going to happen. And we're like, this intentional reality creation shit doesn't work. And I can speak this so clearly because this was my experience. I think I've told you guys this before, I could teach a masterclass on intentional reality creation before I ever intentionally created anything. Ever, because I understood the concepts, but I wasn't doing the work. You understand the concepts. I know you understand the concepts because you're here. Are you doing the work to embody the concepts, to make the work for you? Or are you just continuing to do the same thing every single day and think the same thoughts every single day and then beat yourself up over the fact that nothing is changing? Because that is the definition of Groundhog Day, guys. It is literally the definition, right? And that is why business therapy exists. I don't know if you guys know the story. Business therapy wasn't even my idea. It was a client. She found me on TikTok. We started working together. A lot of you know my friend Courtney and client, and she's just an amazing human across the board. And we started working together and she started seeing really massive change in her life. And she would go out into the world and she would talk to people and she talked about Ryan. And they're like, who's Ryan? And she would tell people that I was her business therapist because she's like, she's a real estate agent. She's like, coaches in real estate kind of have a yucky vibe to it. And so, therapy felt like, so she started telling people I was her business therapist. And I carried that around for about 6, 7, 8 months before it came through. Like I got the clear, hey, it's time. We need to create business therapy. And that's actually where business therapy was born from. And this business therapist idea, because when we choose to create something big, when we choose to start a business or we choose to pursue something really big in our careers, we step into a very different energy that most people aren't willing to step into. And that is what business therapy was created for, the program. So business therapy is a 12-week group coaching program where I really walk you through how do I relearn to align myself with success, with money, with achievement with respect in a way that I really want to choose. Because when you go after big things, every insecurity you've ever had is coming up. Every single, time you weren't good enough or every goal you didn't hit is going to come up for consideration when you go after something big. And I think the people who actually hit the goals, who actually do the miraculous, crazy, wild things are the ones who do this work. The ones who tap out at some point, who burn out, who choose something different, don't do the work. They continue to let their circumstances drive. When you start to play the energy game and you let your energy drive is when you break through that ceiling, that thing that you just keep hitting, that thing that you can't get through. That's what business therapy is for. Business therapy is not just for fixing your business, but totally changing your relationship with money, with respect, with success, right? And I literally wish that this program existed the year I had a $1.2 million year in my entire life. Imploded, right? Externally, so many things going well. Internally, tired, broke, believe it or not. Growing that business was so fucking expensive. I was unhealthy. I was overweight. I had all of the things that I thought would make me feel something, but they didn't. And so business therapy is for women who want both, right? You want wild external success, but you also want deep internal alignment, even if you don't fully know what that means yet. So this is your invitation to change your relationship with achievement, to change your relationship with money, to change your relationship with accomplishment, with happiness, with joy, with fulfillment, with what it looks like to not just have a successful career, but to have a successful life. The women who go through business therapy are not just winning in business. They are winning in life. You know how to win in business. You know how to create through effort and force. What you want is to continue to maintain that level of external success, but you want to do it in a way that feels good, that requires less of your time, that requires less of your energy, that requires less of your focus. But it starts with reclaiming your power. And reclaiming your power is realizing that your thoughts, feelings, and actions are what you create. And when you learn how to harness your thoughts, feelings, and actions in a meaningful way, you get that alignment, you get that ease and that flow and that creativity that we talk about so much. But you have to face yourself to get there. And so this is an invitation. Business therapy is open for enrollment. If you are a woman who knows how to externally create success, even if it's not in every area of your life, you know how to go out and make shit happen and you're sick and fucking tired of working that hard and see no way off the ride, business therapy is the way out. It is the way off of the hamster wheel. It is the way off of the constant feeling for more, the constant need to say yes to all of the things, even though all you want is a motherfucking break. Business therapy is for you. It will change your life. It will change your business. It will literally change the trajectory, not just of 2025, but of everything. So your mid-year comeback, are you capable of doing this on your own? Of course. Of course. Do you want to skip over the heartache and the pain and the frustration? Do you want somebody to hold a mirror up for you and tell you, here's all the ways that you're holding yourself back? That's the invitation for business therapy. That's the invitation to step in. If you go to Live Life Uncensored / let me make sure I got this right. I'm going to pull it up with you guys. I think it's / therapy. It walks you through the entire program. It walks you through each one of the lessons and everything. So there are 12 lessons in business therapy. So you will get pre-recorded lessons and then live coaching every single week. We also have an online community where you can get support between calls. It's a really beautiful container. So if this message is resonating with you, when you are ready for your mid-year comeback, I want to invite you to join us in business therapy. For anybody who joins us by Tuesday, July 1st, I'm actually going to gift you 2 45-minute one-on-one calls with yours truly. So there is a bonus if you join us before July 1st. I want to give you the opportunity to have those 2 free one-on-one sessions. They will be held via Zoom. They will be recorded. And it's a really fun way, my way of saying thank you for being part of this series, for being part of this community, for being part of a movement of women who are no longer willing to hustle and grind and torture themselves in the name of success and accomplishment. Because I think the more of us who do this work, the more of us who step into who we truly are, the more of us that start using our energy to create, the ripple effect of that is so friggin' incredible. The movements that we can create in our respective industries and our respective spaces and our communities and our families is so unbelievably big that I don't even have words for it. The ripple effect of this work, what it has done for me. Yes, has it changed my business? Yes. Has it changed my relationship with money? Certainly. But it has changed me. It has changed my relationship with my children. It has changed my relationship with my partner. It has changed my relationship with myself in such a meaningful and exciting way. It is literally the work that I have done to come back to a place of alignment, of joy, of fulfillment. And on top of that, massive fucking material success, because I'm a human and I chose to have a human experience and I want to do cool shit and I want to experience the world in a way that I want to experience myself. And that's through money. And so I'm going to make a fuck ton of it, but I'm not willing to do it at the expense of my soul. So if you are a woman who wants massive success in your life and you want to do it, you no longer want to do it at the expense of your soul, business therapy is for you. Go to livelifeuncensored.com/therapy. You can join us there. Join by July 1st. You do get 2 45-minute one-on-one calls with me. If you want to have a conversation, guys, my DMs are always open. There's a lot of people that'll tell me, like, they'll hop in my inbox. I'm like, I'm so sorry to bother you. I don't know if you do calls. Guys, I love people. I literally, like, connection is one of my core values. So please don't hide if you're thinking about it, if you're considering it. I don't do high pressure sales tactics. I believe that this work is so deeply personal that it has to be something you feel called to. But if having a conversation with me makes you feel better about making this investment in yourself, of course, I'm willing to do that for you and hold that space for you. So thank you. I love you. I'm really excited. So if you're ready, go join business therapy, game on. And if you are still on the fence, don't worry about it. Sessions 4 and 5 are coming and they're really big and they're really powerful. If you want closer proximity to me, I want you to join me inside of our Facebook group. And I also want you to use that space because there are journal prompts and opportunity for hot seat coaching inside of there that allows you to take this work a little bit deeper. Even if you are somebody who's like, Ryan, at this time, business therapy is not for me. I don't want you to stop listening to the series because I'm selling you a program. I don't want you to think that this program, this experience is not valuable because I'm selling you a program. I'm selling you a program because I run a fucking business. But the content that I put out in the world it's my give. It's my service. I know that it's fucking good. Even if you buy nothing from me, if you do this and you treat this like I told you to in session 1, it will change your life. If you choose to join me in business therapy, I will change your life even faster. Frankly, you will change your life. I will hold the mirror up for you to do that even faster. But I believe in the free content I put out. I believe the reason that you join the paying content is because you want proximity. You want more access to me. You want to be in conversation and in community with women, but don't stop listening to this series just because you don't know if business therapy is for you. It will still change your life. That is my ask of you. Every single one of you. I love you. I'm glad that you're here. I think you're important and amazing and doing good work in the world. And we'll see you in the next session. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Uncensored Self podcast. If this conversation cracked something open for you, trust that. That's the work. And share this episode with a woman in your life who's ready to stop performing and start creating. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review. It helps this message reach the women who need it most. Remember, you're the creator. The rules are yours. And your uncensored self, she already knows what to do. Keep leading, keep listening, keep becoming.